Amor Fati is a concept in Stoic philosophy and in the works of Friedrich Nietzsche, which translates to the love of one's fate. The idea is to love and embrace whatever the outcome is, no matter how hard we work towards a certain goal. It means accepting pain as a necessary part of life, learning to accept our destiny, and loving whatever happens to us and facing it with unfailing cheerfulness, because at the end of the day, that is the only thing that we can control. To love that which is necessary, including pain, demands not only that we love the bad along with the good, but that we view the two as inextricably linked, because all things that exist in relation to a reference point or a counterpart that defines it. Just like virtue is defined in relation to vice, and we cannot define good without defining the bad, and vice versa. We cannot hope to savor the good times if first we had not tasted the bitter fruits of pain, which is the ultimate liberator of the spirit, as such pain not only makes us a better version of ourselves but also makes us more profound. The thing is, some individuals mix up the concepts of pain and suffering. I, however, believe that pain and suffering are not quite the same concept, but are in fact completely contrasting in nature. Pain is inevitable and everyone must taste their fair share of it, but suffering is the approach that one takes following such pain. When one chooses not to accept pain and view it as a necessary part of life, one tends to resist it and thus he suffers from it. So, even though we all must pass through the narrow aisles of pain, suffering is one's own choice. Amor Fati speaks of an approach that can remove all disappointment and discontentment. When we are restless because of the future, we either desire a certain outcome or averse a certain outcome. When we desire a certain outcome, the idea of not getting it makes us anxious. And when we averse a certain outcome, the idea of incurring it makes us anxious. Thus, it is the attachment to outcomes that creates the turmoil in our minds. To solve this, we must remove desire and aversion in regards to things that are not in our control. Because if you desire any of the things which are not in your own control, you will always be disappointed. In order to reduce this maelstrom of anxious thoughts, trying to control the outcome is pointless because we cannot. What we can control, however, is the position that we take towards the outcome, our attitude towards it. Oftentimes, the things we averse are not as bad as we imagine them. The time and energy we spend on fearing the future is most likely worse than the future itself. The key to reducing the fear of certain outcomes is to actually expose ourselves to them so we can experience that a perceived negative outcome is not so bad. This way, we become familiar with hardship and thus prepared for it. Here is a quote by Epictetus. He says, "Do not demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." Change is the very essence of life. Resisting change is like resisting life. As soon as we resist change, we're already in the future. Because instead of accepting the present moment, we try to preserve it for the days to come. Furthermore, we can say that there is no future nor is there a past. There is only now. When fate comes, it comes in the present. That's why embracing fate can only be done in the present moment. So, when the future hasn't arrived yet, why should you worry about it? But when it comes, love it as it's here. Love it before it's gone, because if you do not, you might regret that you didn't. Friedrich Nietzsche writes, "My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati." that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity, not merely bear what is necessary, nor conceal it, but love it. Oftentimes, in the face of hardships, people resent and discount this life and look forward to some utopian future that will free them from all pain and sorrow, while being dependent on external stimuli that they have no control over to bail them out and save them from difficulties and suffering. They take the path of least resistance and often the most cowardice and comfortable one, hoping for a miracle to somehow magically fix everything. But the thing with hope is that it is endless, and when those hopes and expectations are not fulfilled, it creates unnecessary suffering. I talked about hope in one of my earlier videos titled The Philosophy of Hope. Anyway, the reason we are constantly looking forward to something in the future, constantly hoping for a specific thing to happen in the future, is because we are not living in the moment. We're always looking for the next thing, the best smartphone, the dream job we've always wanted. We look forward to all kinds of things, hoping that once we get them, we will be happy, but it never comes, it never happens because we are not content with what we have. Instead, we should be like the blazing fire that makes flame and brightness out of everything that is thrown into it. Embrace all that comes your way and make the best out of it. Have a great job? Perfect. You just lost a job, make the best out of it. Accept your fate for what it is, not for what you want it to be, and you will have found the remedy for true contentment. This is Amor Fati, wanting nothing more and nothing less, but just the life you're living and loving fate for what it is.